Hey everyone, it's Dr. B again, and for Social Work 502, and this is the third video in the Intro to the Course and Assignments. So I had gone over Clinical Vignette number 1, but I want to clarify something. So I'm going to go back in here. So I had told you all, we talked about in the week, we had talked about in the second video of the three about the choosing a client, right? And we've discussed that. I discussed that. And then talking about what the clinical vignette part 1 entails, or what you must include, right? So all of this information. When we got to the diagnostic criteria, which, as I mentioned in video 2, the biopsychosocial history and the diagnostic assessment, the information that's here, there is additional information as it says on here, in terms of C grading rubric below for the steps in the diagnostic assessment. I want to come down so you could see, the introduction, data sources, identifying information, presenting problem, chief complaint. All of that is the same as it mentioned above. The history of the presenting problem and the psychosocial history has as well as the diagnostic assessment has additional steps. So the history of the presenting problem, here's some questions to answer that should be subheadings. Please use APA style using headings and subheadings. The psychosocial history, here's some what you want to add, the background, that's A, B, the strength, support, resources, and C, what is your view of the problem and what are your expectations of the client. In a previously up here, you're also asked to talk about what the client wants out of the work together. What is it that they're hoping for? This is asking what are your expectations of the client, okay? Now, when we come to the diagnostic assessment, as I mentioned, you're going to, using the DSM, you're going to, and this is where I said, you want to choose from the DSM conditions or the diagnoses that we had talked about prior to week 5, and that is still correct. But I didn't list them out, so I want to list them out here. Any substance-related, trauma-related, stressor-related, anxiety disorders, depression, mood disorders, or bipolar disorder. Any of those, you must choose a provisional diagnosis from each of those categories, right? So substance-related and additive, and that's 1. Trauma and stressor-related, and that's 2. And anxiety disorders. And I apologize, it should not be depressive, mood, or bipolar. That I just realized that that's not on there. So it really should be 1 from each of those conditions that we will have discussed between weeks 2 and week 4, okay? So, all right, so that's important to know. So what I said in the second video is still right. I just hadn't listed them out. So I'm listing them out here. Now I'm going to go back to Vignette 2 and continue my discussion there. So as I had mentioned earlier, in Vignette 2, you're going to copy and paste the first information, right? So if I come down that you had in Vignette 1, so, right here, you're just going to include it, the introduction, your data sources, your identifying information, your presenting problem, your chief complaint of the client, the history of the presenting problem, the psychosocial history, strengths, resources, supports, and your view. All of that is going to just be copy and pasted and included in Vignette 2. So that, and then you're going to continue writing on Vignette 2. So it all becomes one paper altogether. But in Vignette 2, what you're being asked to do then is to reassess the person using the DSM, right? So what you're being asked is to, you will include your previous diagnostic assessment that included, your from the 3, previous categories, but now you're going to reassess the person for depressive disorders, which is part of Vignette 2, bipolar disorder, and psychotic disorders, okay? So those are the 3 that you will be focusing on. So now you're going to be, as I mentioned in the previous video, so let's say there's new behavioral manifestation signs and symptoms that you had not noticed. So for instance, you previously had, you know, in your previous assessment where you talked about behavioral manifestation, signs and symptoms, you know, now that you know more about depressive disorders, you might have realized that this person, not that you're, again, you're not going to go back and just in your go, you're not going to go talk to them at all, but in your memories or in your notes, now you're seeing, now I read about depression and depressive disorders, or about, you know, so maybe, you know, in psychotic disorders, you know, maybe some of, there are some signs that I missed, so I'm going to add them here. If it's the same behavioral signs and symptoms, then that's okay. Just cut and paste them from VigNet 1. But if there's new additional things, this is the part of reassessing. The same with the risk factors. Are there additional risk factors that you had not thought about because you weren't thinking that the diagnosis could be something from one of these new categories? So now you weren't thinking that it could potentially be depression, but now you've read about depression, and now you've realized that the client had talked to you, or you read that somebody in, like a parent, had depression, and so now you're thinking, well, that's a risk factor as well. So those are the things. Just reassess. If it's the same, leave it as the same as it was in VigNet 1. But you are being asked to now to provide a provisional diagnosis based on each of the categories of diagnoses as listed here. And that is substance-related, additive, trauma and stress-related, anxiety, depression, bipolar, and psychotic disorders, okay? So that is, you're going to provide a provisional diagnosis from each of these categories of disorders from DSM. And so one provisional diagnosis from each of these categories, and then for each of those provisional diagnoses, match the criteria. And this is where I left, I think this is, well, no, I think I did mention this in the previous video before it cut off on me, before I ran out of time in the video. But what you're going to do is then match it, right? So I talked earlier about like hallucinations, delusions. The person is experiencing this matches schizophrenia or schizoaffective or schizoform criteria A or criteria B, whatever it may be, okay? So you want to match them, and then also, so do that for each of the provisional diagnoses. Also, then you'll move on to your differential diagnosis. Remember, a differential diagnosis is that diagnosis that you think could be as close to it, but you need some additional information. You were doing this also in VigNet 1. You were being asked to have a provisional diagnosis, a differential diagnosis from one of the provisional diagnoses, and the other ones became ruled out. Because this is the final VigNet, instead you're going to determine which of the provisional diagnoses then becomes, you know, you've already talked about it becoming a differential diagnosis, but now you're going to talk about it in terms of this could be then the final, you know, diagnosis that you have, and why you think it could be that. And then what are your ruled out diagnoses, the ones that did not become differential working diagnoses? What are they, and why, the rationale for why they were not differential working diagnoses, okay? All right, you must include 3 references, and the NASW Code of Ethics must be one of them. Your books do not count. Websites, the DSM, and textbooks for the class do not count as one of the 3. One of the 3, as I said, must be the NASW Code of Ethics, as well as 2 peer-reviewed scholarly journals. 10 years or less is the guideline that we use in terms of what to determine what is still relevant. That's very important. And then everybody must do a summary as well. And the summary is, you want to answer these questions. Discuss your, and this is really an assessment, a reflection on your part. No right or wrong answers in your summary. So really this part here is the major part of what you'll be doing for VigNet 2 in terms of it being like something that's not a reflection, because the rest is a reflection. Discuss your struggles with using The behavioral manifestations, signs, symptoms as evidence for the DSM-5. Describe your struggles in resolving the provisional, differential, and working diagnoses. In the process of working through the diagnostic assessment, how is your understanding of the individual and their presenting problem changed? How is your view of the person's original diagnoses changed? And based on your diagnostic assessment, how would or has your approach to working with this person changed? Again, if this is a fictional character, think about what you would do, or think about what you saw, like if they were in therapy in the show. Like I said, In Treatment is a really good show that shows individuals in therapy. It is a fictional drama, but you could talk about, well, this is what the therapist did, but this is what I would do in the future. And if you're not working with that individual anymore, you don't have to be. It could just be, this is what I think I would do in the future with this individual. All right. So once again, you cannot involve any person, a client, in doing this with you. Either a former or current client cannot. Should just be taken from your memory of your work with them, notes that you have, those sort of things, but it should not be including the person in this assignment. If you feel that you're not able to do this with somebody in your field placement or in your work because you don't feel like you are able to build a clinical diagnostic assessment on the individual, or you feel that there's ethical issues in doing so, that is okay. You're not being forced to do that. You can use a character from a book, a TV show, a movie, and we can talk about that. I've had several students do it in the past, and we can have a discussion. We can meet and talk more about that, what that could look like. I have suggestions, as I said. In Treatment is a good show. The Sopranos is a really good show that shows, interactions there. But there's a lot of other shows, and there's a lot of really good books. One of the best ones that would be good for this is She's Come Undone by Wally Lamb. I've had students do things with that book as well. The only thing is that it's a really lengthy book, and this is a 7-week class. So, you might want to be realistic in terms of the length of the novel that you want to read. But so there's a lot of stuff. And if you want to, email me. We'll schedule a time to meet and discuss it together. All right. Take care. And that's all for the assignments. Okay. So Vignette 1 is due by Sunday of week 4, and Vignette 2 is due by Sunday of at the end of week 6. Take care. Bye.